Hi, and welcome along to the Guns Blazing podcast with my man DT in the building. How you doing, bro?
I'm all right.
Bit of a smile on your face after the doom and gloom of the weekend.
Yeah.
Losing to Tottenham. It was the Liverpool game, which nobody expected. That was really, really nice.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Nobody expected. Excuse me.
All right.
Who was the only one in the room? Yeah.
You weren't the only one in the room. You weren't the only one in the room. It was you and Kelechi. And Ty.
And Ty.
Well, yeah, but Ty. We could be playing like Barcelona, whoever. Ty says we're going to win 2-0, right? So we'll take him out. Kelechi and you, yeah, to be fair. I thought it'd be a draw, but I was kind of being quite optimistic on it. But to get a win, that was incredible. We're going to talk about that. Just before we do, the guys from 888 Sport, another one of their videos. Hey, your most hated... Well, watch this and come back to me after this.
What player gets to you? What player do you hate most? Past or present in the Premier League?
I would say Diego Costa. I'd throw him in there.
For me, two players, blood. You know them way there. The first one is a walking 8-ball, fam. Soulless camp, fam. Him, 100% over, fam. You get me, bro? I hate him. My kids will hate him. Their kids will hate him, blood.
What are you going for, Troops?
Ashley Cole.
You can't do that. Is it just because you loved him so much?
Yeah.
Does it hurt?
Yeah. Scumbag.
Your most hated player?
Oh, I've got to agree with Troops, man. Ashley Cole. It's got to be. There's so many players that I genuinely don't like. I know you don't like Samir Nasri. We've all seen the viral video of you throwing the punches and at him. There's Adebayor, but the Adebayor situation, I'm a little bit more open-minded too, because we actually know his agent and we actually know the story.
He did actually want to stay, did he? He
wanted to stay, and he was actually forced out of the club. So I look at that and think, okay, cool.
Ashley Cole.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why, right?
Well, didn't he? He did kind of want to stay.
No, because I'll tell you what it is, yeah? I'll tell you the reason why with Ashley Cole is that he was literally one of our own.
Yeah,
young boy through the academy, came up to the last year at Highbury, was part of the great teams, won titles and everything else. It was the fact that he had secret meetings in hotels with Mourinho and everybody. The fact that he wrote in his book and then said that Arsenal had, I can't remember what the figure was, but I think it was around about 60, 70,000 or whatever it was at the time, which then was big money. And I think it was about 5,000 short of his valuation that he wanted or something. And he said that he was coming back from training. He got a call from his agent and he nearly crashed his car because he was so disgusted at the offer. And I was like, you little, no, I just don't. No, mate, please.
But have you got over it now? If you met him, right? He's always on TV now, doing a lot of punditry and that. If you met him, you think he'd be like, you know what, all right, is what it is, kind of thing. It's a long time ago now.
I know it's
expression, right, on Sol Campbell. They've just not forgiven. You was there that time. We was at that function. The Spurs fans were there with us, and Sol Campbell came up. Oh, that was funny. That was, but the Spurs fans will just never, ever, ever. The hatred that they have for Sol Campbell is still. I mean, you might turn. I don't think you hate Ashley Cole. You're probably like, I still. Hate
no, you know what it is. Do you know what it is?
They still hate him.
Yeah, what it is.
Sol Campbell's just as bad.
The thing with Ashley Cole is that it hurts.
Yeah.
And he will look at his career and say he went off and he ultimately won a Champions League with Chelsea and everything else. So it was the right thing for him to do. What annoyed me is the fact that he was at Arsenal at a time when it wasn't bad. You had Henry and all these people around you and everything else. And he could have gone on to be this unbelievable legend of the club. And I felt that we were at a period in our history where we needed players not to jump ship. We needed players to
he was the start of that demise, wasn't he? He's like one of the, you know what I mean? That was like one of the first big signs that, yeah, this team's going this way, you know?
Yeah. And the other thing is as well, is that because of him, we ended up getting William fucking Gallas in return.
Well, listen, who do you guys think it is? Your most hated player? Jump into the description, click on the link, go over to that, watch that video on 888. It's brilliant. And also tell them that we've come there, like and comment. But they always have great subjects, so make sure you get over there. But I really enjoyed that one. Of course, the football back on this week after the North London derby. Oh man, it was so depressing for me. The derby, then the whole thing after. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of people have saw what happened after the derby, the fallout afterwards as well with the situation with Claude, which was a really, for me personally, listen, we had to act in the way in which we acted because of the comment that was made. It was very sad for me because I don't think Claude is a racist.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, this is the thing. Sometimes there are some people, fans still that sometimes have some old school views or say some old school things and maybe don't realize sometimes the things they're saying. And you know, we're living in a time now where there's certain things you can't say those things no more, and quite rightly so. Quite rightly so. You can't say those things. So that was a really sad situation. Listen, we continue to try and support Claude. You know what I mean? 'Cause, you know, despite what's happened, you know, I mean, he's still a human being. We want to see him come out of this. We still want to see him come out of this a better person, come out of this well. And I'm sure he will. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. But it was wrong. End of. And you know what? You know me already when it comes to racism. You know, anything to do with racism is, you know, it's something that we have to eradicate. You know, and yeah, that was very sad. And in the game itself, that was sad as well. You know what I mean? Because, you know, for long periods of that game, it was a pretty decent performance by Arsenal. But ultimately, the defending was terrible, was shocking in the way in which we gave away the 2 goals. However, Kolasinac might turn around and say, well, yo, DT, the next time you get on my back, have a look at Virgil van Dijk against us.
Yeah.
He could do something like that.
Listen, let me tell you something. Hey, right. Listen, first and foremost, right, just to briefly touch on the situation with Claude, it's a really difficult situation. It's a delicate situation as well. And I don't in any way, shape or form think that Claude is a racist or anything like that. Like you said, he comes from an older generation, you know, where things, you know, were normal. You know, Saturday night television back in the day was Alf Garnett.
Yeah.
You know, if nobody knows about Alf Garnett, just go and do your research and you'll see that was standard terrestrial TV back in the day. And it was, you know, it's a throwaway comment and it's had serious repercussions. And I really hope that he does learn from this. I briefly spoke to him yesterday, just to tell him to keep his head up. And because we all know that Claude does have issues. He does have mental health problems and everything. And
yeah, and that's why this is a very delicate situation. And that's why, you know, I mean, I don't like people. Yeah. You know, I think in this case now, people need to support.
It's done now. Leave it now.
All what's been said. You know, it's been, as I said, it's been a very unfortunate situation. But now let's try help the guy. I mean, I've seen, you know, I was talking to the guys from Kick It Out about this course that they do, and I think that this course is a very good thing, right? Because it just. I've said this a lot of times in the past. Education is the key here, because you sometimes have some people who fall into the trap of they've said something inappropriate, they've said something that has a you know, it's a racial stereotype, and they don't realize, right? And it's about education. And the guys at Kick Out have got this course where it teaches you a lot of these things, you know what I mean? Things that maybe back in the day, some of these things just a few years ago might have been okay to say.
Yeah.
Now are completely inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, listen, Robbie, listen, you know what? The thing is, you're saying that it wasn't too long ago that there was a TV program called Phone Jacker, and then Bass Jacker, really good program. Yeah. And he basically, you know, goes into character of, you know, different races. Basically, there's like an African guy where he will put on the African accent and like Nigerian or whatever it might be. There's Chinese, and it's the whole DVD thing, and you know what I mean. And that was acceptable, and that was not many years ago. You know what I mean? So
no, that's totally inappropriate.
One of those. I just hope that, like you said, I just really hope that Claude can come out on the other side to this. I really hope that he can.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
You know, see it for what it is. And you know what I will say, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on the situation, because I get asked by so many people, and I'm not going to get into debates on social media over it or anything else, but he's been punished. Arsenal have got involved. That's the severity of it, and they've issued a statement. But for Tottenham fans especially that are still going at him, just remember one of your own players was recently done for something very similar when he was mocking Asian people and the coronavirus and everything else. Dele Alli. All right. He made a mistake. He apologized. He's been punished. He moves on. Those same fans will forgive Dele Alli. Those same fans will move on and support him and cheer him when he scores a goal and everything else. He's made a mistake. He held his hands up. It was wrong. He needs to learn, and you move forward. Same with Claude. Exactly the same with Claude. He's made a mistake. He's paying massive consequences for his mistake right now, but he's been punished. Don't kick him while he's down. Leave it. It's done. Leave it. Move on. And
help him. Let's you know, I mean, let's progress this. This can be an example to a lot of people out there of how, you know, how we learn. Let's take a learning from this. You know what I mean? That's one thing that with a lot of these arguments around race is that sometimes there's a lot of talk around it and no learning at the end of it. I hope that the good thing that comes out of this for everybody is that we all learn from this. You know, it's not a point scoring exercise. It's not a he said this and what about that in comparison to this and stuff like that. This is about how we learn going forward, you know, because, you know, I've had loads of racial stereotypes in my time. I've seen, you know, I was even reading the other day that the guy's, I think he's like in charge at Vogue, you know, when he went into work where, you know, he went back to work and the security guard's telling him to take the service lift because he's black, when the guy's actually the main guy there, you know. You know what I mean? There's been racial, you know, so many racial stereotypes over the years. They're painful to people. You know, it might seem to some people that it's nothing, but it is painful, you know. And so let's take a learning from, let's all learn from this. That's what I want us to do.
We can all learn, man.
Let's not point fingers no more. Let's take a learning from this. This is for all fans, you know what I mean? You know, even Tottenham fans is the Y word when describing your fan base still appropriate. I know the reasons why Tottenham fans started doing it, because they were getting a lot of stick from other fans, and they did it like a sort of circle the wagons type. Is that still appropriate? Is some of the songs that we sing at Arsenal, are some of those songs still appropriate? You know, we all got to take a learning from
society in general, Robbie, because, you know, if you want to really stretch, you know, the borders and what you want to say, you can look at modern music or even old music, because it's been from back in the day, and some of the profanities that are used in modern music, I know why certain words are used, because it's kind of an endearment.
N-word I hate in songs.
Well, this is what I'm saying. If it's going to be, if that is like, for me, that's like right up there with like one of the worst racial insults that you could call a black person. But if wipe it out completely, don't have it in songs, don't glorify it. That's my opinion on that. I don't think that you should glorify it. I know why it's used, and it's, some people use it as a term of endearment to their friends now. Yeah, you know, and it's, but for me, it's just like, just wipe it out completely. Just stop using it.
I'm with you. But listen, as we said, it's all about now. It's all about, let's educate ourselves. But going back to the football, the Liverpool game, right? We'll move beyond the Tottenham game, right? But the Liverpool game, why is it that they were able to defend in that manner? You know, because Liverpool literally had the ball for most of the game. Arsenal, 2 banks of 4, didn't give Liverpool many chances. I mean, I think there was that chance that Salah had, you know, but didn't give Liverpool many chances. I thought it was a very good rearguard action defence by Arsenal. How can they defend like that and then defend like they did against Tottenham? What's wrong?
Mate, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be unbelievably rich, because that just typifies Arsenal. Tottenham, Liverpool, completely contrasting defensive performances. You could even throw Wolves in there, for example, where we was excellent away from home. This is why we will never be where Liverpool currently are again, until we sort out the defense, that they eradicate this on a permanent basis. Now, Virgil van Dijk made a mistake. Not one Liverpool fan will rip into Virgil van Dijk, because they know that one error is the one error. You know, the thing with our defenders is that they could make that one error per game. And they've done it consistently over and over again, which is why it's so highlighted and so big when they do it, because you're like, oh, look at it again. Clowns. You know, we see the memes and the pictures and everything, because it's the same. It happens all the time. People look at Virgil van Dijk, or even Alisson, his miss kick last night. 2 of the best players in their positions in world football. But nobody's really going on about that, because they know it was just a mistake. Virgil van Dijk came out and said it. Mistakes happen in football, but it's how you learn. And they're clearly players that do learn, because Virgil van Dijk will probably, I'll be interested to see the next time he makes a mistake and what the gap is between last night and when the next one is. He'll probably go and make one at the weekend now. Watch. You know?
No, but I was talking to somebody this morning, and I said to them, I go, the difference between the very best players and the average players is the fact that the very best players, like Virgil van Dijk, just like what you said there, and Alisson, they'll make 1 or 2 of those a season. 1, 2 of those, probably, you know, 2-3 of those mistakes possibly per season in all games played. That's Premier League, Champions League, everything, yeah? And then for the rest of the season, they're consistently good, consistently solid. The problem with the average players and some of the players that we have in defence is that they can go 2-3 games defending well. We've seen this with Mustafi. And then the 4th game, the 5th game, they go completely AWOL. And then no concentration, mistakes, diving in, all the things that they eradicated for those previous 3 games is just like, it just goes out the window. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's concentration. I don't know if it's that certain players work harder on their game than others. I don't know. But that is what separates the average from the very best. But we capitalized on those mistakes.
Yeah.
it was great to see Reece Nelson. He forced the error on Van Dijk for the first one, right? And he got the second goal as well. I thought it was a very good performance by him, very encouraging. And Lacazette, I think that's 10 Premier League goals now for him this season. He's hit a bit of form since this year. He's sort of being the guy scoring the goals recently. Had that banger at Tottenham as well. So that was very encouraging. Do you think Liverpool was sort of not focused on the game? That's what some people are trying to suggest. I mean, I don't think so, because when I spoke to the guys from Redmen TV, I spoke to AJT, Crop TV, they were all talking about Liverpool playing a strong team because they want to go for that record. They wanted to break Manchester City's 100 points record. And in order to do that, they needed to win their last 3 games. So we stopped that. We stopped that by beating them. They can no longer go for that record.
Yeah, listen, they put, apart from Henderson and maybe Citeh starting, that was their strongest 11, without question. That was their strongest 11. They didn't play like a team that were on the beach. We just defended really well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and say, you know what? We had so many chances. We've done so many right things, but they defended well. They were resolute. They dug in. And that's what we did. And before the game, everyone's talking about how Liverpool going for the points total, they're going to slap you. Watch what they do to you. They're going to slap you. As soon as we beat them, they've already won the league. They don't really care. They're on the beach. It's like, come on, man. You can't win. You can't win, man. It's like, mate, it doesn't matter who we beat or whenever we play well. There's an excuse as to why we won from somebody out there. No, yeah, the sun was in their eyes. It was raining or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I can't tell you how many Liverpool fans were messaging me before the game.
Oh, mate,
naming out score lines of 3-0, 4-0, stuff like that. I ain't heard from one since.
To be fair, I've had a lot of Liverpool fans message me, and they said to me that, you know what, fair play to Arsenal. You actually exploited some of our weaknesses, and that is that they like to play out from the back, and we pressed. We didn't let them play. How many times do you see the ball roll out to Virgil van Dijk like that, and he has all the time in the world to just pick a pass or do what he wants? All of a sudden, Virgil didn't have that time. Reece Nelson was right on him, to the point where Virgil's begging for VAR to intervene, that he's been pulled or something, because he's like, what have I done? And that stems from the manager. You know, Reece Nelson, I watched his interview after the game, and he turned around and said the manager had a game plan, and that was to press high. So Mikel's obviously looked at the way Liverpool play and say, press high.
Yeah, and that's a very, as you just described there, that's a very brave thing to do, because a lot of teams, if you press high and then you get caught out by Liverpool, that's it, game over. You know what I mean? But and we've seen that now in a few games. He did it against Wolves. He did it against, and it's working. That high press, high energy up front, it's making teams make mistakes. We've seen Eddie score a goal where he pressed the keeper. I think that was Southampton, wasn't it?
Yeah, Southampton. Aubameyang as well.
Aubameyang's done it. We've seen, Lacazette do it. It's that high press. Don't give the defenders any time. Press right from the front. Mikel Arteta is looking like he's starting to have a game plan, for these games. He's playing to a system. You can see he wants to play out from the back, right? Even though we nearly got caught out in that as well. That one with Martinez, where we were very lucky there. But you notice that after that, they didn't go long. They're still playing out from the back. Despite that, there's no panic. Arteta's obviously said to him, I want it ball played out at the back, but I want it moved quicker. Now, if he can get the right players in, that's going to bode well for the future. But there are some players in there I've got to just give a shout out to, that over the past few games, I'm starting to see that there's a few players that are going to be important going forward. Tierney is one of those.
Oh, mate.
He's looking a good player.
Mate, Tierney is exceptional. You see why I released a welcome video before anybody else?
That's the excuse for it going live before you shouldn't have done, yeah?
Mate, I think I announced that about a month before he actually started. That could have actually smashed me straight in the face so badly. Oh my God. But he is just brilliant. When you look at the price we paid, you can see why he's so highly thought of, and only injuries have held him back. And we hope now that, because, you know, towards the end of his time at Celtic, he had an operation which was to try and cure that long-standing injury, and it looks like that's worked. And, you know, he picked up an injury at West Ham on his shoulder, which was another problem area, which looks like it's been dealt with now. And if he can get a run of games and keep going, we've got one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. You might mock, laugh, or anything. If you're real, you watch this boy play, he is absolute quality. He's a proper defender. He likes getting stuck in.
What about him, though? What I liked him in that free. In the game.
Hey, who told you weeks ago about Tierney in a free?
No, you said no. Don't come. Hold on, wait. Don't come off with that. You didn't say what happened in that game. Is that you were saying that he was in the free in that game, which he weren't.
Yeah, no. But I said to you clearly that Tierney is better playing in the free, in the defense, and you were like, no, he's better attacking. And I was like, no, he'd be better in that free. Push Kolasinac. I would rather Kolasinac a little bit further forward, because it keeps him far enough away from our goal. You know what I mean? So, listen, I'm telling you, Mikel Arteta's got a selection headache for Saturday. Yeah, do not bring Kolasinac or even Mustafi back. I would go with that free. I would say, you know what? You've just beaten the champions. Yeah? You just beaten the champions. You know what? You deserve to play this game, because what kind of reward is it for you as a player that you get thrown in against the champions, told to do a job, and you do it? And it's not like you've came in to play a game to give your first choice players a rest because they've been playing so brilliantly. You've came in because you deserve the opportunity, because they've gone and messed up so badly again. So you as a player will look at that and go, boss, come on, man. I deserve my chance. I got my chance. I took it with both hands. We didn't just beat Norwich. We beat the champions. Mo Salah, you know, he was in Tierney's pocket. There's no exaggeration. He was marshalled. Apart from the fact that he scored a goal, there was a brilliant battle between Rob Holding and Mane. And Mane was getting frustrated.
I think start of the game, he was getting the better of Holding.
Yeah.
But then later on, Holding grew into it and played really well. I like the way they were putting their bodies on the line defensively. I like the way at the end, when Liverpool were throwing everything at us, that guys like David Luiz were getting their head on everything and that, you know what I mean, and getting blocks in and stuff like that. That was really, really encouraging to see. I like Tierney. I'm with you. I think against City, I'd be playing Tierney again in that free, right? Because, you know, I do believe that, you know, Tierney there, and then as your wing back have Saka, right? Because to me, it's not like, you know, it's not like it's going to be a height thing up against City. We know that they're not, you know, they don't have big forwards. That's not going to be the problem. I'd leave Kolasinac out of that one. He's made too many mistakes, right? Bring him in later on to possibly replace Saka or something like that. But I would start with Tierney as one of those defenders, the free defenders. And he's mobile as well, Tierney. You know, I would definitely start with that. Let me just have a big shout out now for another player who, again, he's coming. Leno got injured. We was all like, that's our best player, apart from Aubameyang this season, has come in. Emi Martinez. He's had to wait 10 years, really, to get in. 10 years to get into the first team. He's coming. all right, I know he made that mistake against Liverpool. He was lucky to get away with that one, right? But in the games that he's played since the lockdown, he has been unbelievable. I think they said he's got the best save ratio of any goalkeeper in the Premier League. I asked you this question at the time of the game. I'm going to ask you again. If Leno was fit, we know he's not fit, but if Leno was fit for Saturday against Manchester City, would you drop Martinez and bring Leno straight back in? Or does Martinez stay in that position and Leno now has to earn back that number one spot? Because Martinez has done, not only has he done nothing wrong, he's excelled. He's been brilliant.
Right. What I will say is that Martinez would have to start because it's the FA Cup and we always play our second goalkeeper anyway. Yes!
Trying to get your way out of it again because last time,
listen,
we'd come back in. Listen, you know what I'm talking about, right? Who is a semi-final? Who for you? I mean, I said it to you yesterday. As far as I'm concerned, Leno, when he comes back, he has to earn his way back. You don't just walk back in and say, "Oh, I'm number one. I'm fit now." This guy at the moment has been brilliant.
What I will say is that given the fact it's such an important position and he had this injury and it wasn't just like a week off or something, I think that Leno needs to bide his time back in anyway. I think that, you know, in an ideal world, if Bernd Leno was available right now, for example, and we've got 2 league games left and a semi-final and possibly a final, I would, if I was Mikel Arteta, probably go, you know what, the most important game is the FA Cup. So I'm going to keep Martinez in goal because he's the one that's playing, it's ready. You don't know whether there might be an aggravation or whatever. Playing. He's doing what he needs to do. Leno, then I would play in the Premier League games as a way of getting him.
You bring Leno straight back in.
No, into the Premier League because also you've got.
All right, let me do this.
You've got to remember as well, Robbie, right? We've been coming back from an injury. We're going to have about a month before the season starts again. We're not really going to have any kind of pre-season and loads of matches to get going. And let's also remember that Bernd Leno is, with Aubameyang, our player of the season.
All right, let me put it this way then. Let's take the FA Cup out of it. This weekend, right, it was a Premier League game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said Leno's fully fit.
Mm-hmm.
Martinez is fully fit. Would you bring Leno back in?
I'll play Matt Macy.
You like dodging the question, didn't it?
No, listen.
As I said,
I would keep Martinez in based on his performances. At the same time, you know, when it was announced about Leno's injury, I remember I tweeted out that I don't want us to sign another goalkeeper. Like they were talking about Joe Hart or this, that, the other. I was like, Emi deserves his opportunity. And I also sat and said to you that we've actually watched Emi Martinez. And I remember going over to Germany this year in the Europa League when we played Frankfurt, and he was exceptional. And I was like, the boy deserves an opportunity. What's the point in having a number 2 that if your number 1 gets injured, you buy someone to replace him?
Do you reckon he might leave this summer because that guy's too good to be playing number 2, really, isn't he? He's a very...
You know what? It's a tricky one, man. And goalkeepers are the hardest position to work out because you predominantly don't get on the pitch. It's not like a normal position where you can bring you on in the 75th minute. You have to wait for an injury or a cup game or whatever it is. And I watched Martinez when he went on loan at Reading. And you ask Reading fans, they'll tell you he was exceptional with his loan spell at Reading. And all I got back from people was like, yeah, but it's Reading. No. It's like, what'd you send him on loan for? You send him on loan to gain experience and do that. And I think that he loves the club. He was happy biding his time. But I feel that now getting this taste of first team football for a period of time that he has may well make him start to say, oi, listen, I want that number 1 spot because I'm good enough. I've showed I'm good enough. I don't want to sit on the bench. That guy, I'm not even joking, could walk into more than half of the Premier League's first team.
Yeah, he's
without
very
doubt.
good.
Without doubt. He could walk into half of the Premier League's team. You look at the teams in the bottom half of the table, for example. He'd walk in as their goalkeeper. You know, so listen, man, it's a good selection headache to have for Mikel Arteta, but at the same time, it's a difficult one to have because you've got to make that choice, and it's someone's going to be unhappy. And listen, sometimes, you know, things happen for a reason. Maybe Leno's injury happened for a reason, and it's gave Emi Martinez the chance. And maybe now that Leno's got to sit and hold tight, and that's hard for me to say as well, because Leno has been absolutely phenomenal this season. He is, for me, top 3 goalkeepers in the Premier League. Easily.
Yeah, he has been excellent.
You know, so that's what makes it so difficult, because you're not going, oh, he's a good goalkeeper and it's kind of even. You're going, listen, Leno, man, he's exceptional. He's been one of our players of the year. It's tough. It's really, really tough, man. Yeah. So we'll see. And can I just say one thing? The save from Emi Martinez in the 96th minute. Oh my dear God, that's one of the best I have ever seen.
Deflected. Wow. What a save.
His body was weighted to the other side, and then he's had to lift his body weight, and he's not a little guy, get across. And you know, the irony of it is that if Leno was in goal, he probably wouldn't have saved it because he's smaller. It was probably Martinez's reach that meant he could actually get that. And that was that for me is right up there, one of the best saves I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a great save. Great save. And he's done brilliantly. Another player that's really stepped up, didn't really figure a lot against Liverpool because obviously he's being rested, right, for the final. For the semi-final.
Mate, calm down.
Dani Ceballos.
Yeah.
Again, another guy that since the lockdown has stepped up. There was a lot of people before the lockdown who was like, yeah, let him go back at the end of the loan.
I was one of them.
Now, a lot of people got second thoughts on that. What do you reckon? Do you keep him?
For 20 million, which they're talking about, I would. They're talking about £20 million in this market.
20 million, that's cheap for Dani Ceballos, I think.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, we've very clearly seen now that we've got a manager that can get the best out of Dani Ceballos. And he's only going to get better, in my opinion. I think that, you know, that's what you've got to look at. Like, he's got such a high ceiling. He's a young boy still. You know, this is not a 27, 28-year-old player. It's a young lad still. And he's obviously thriving working under, you know, a fellow Spaniard. And, you know, the system and the way that he wants to play and the discipline. And he's come to life since lockdown. He really, really has come to life. And I look at him and I think, yeah, you know what? £20 million, it's not a lot.
I like his fighting spirit as well as being a very, very skillful player. He's a guy that wants the ball, wants to get on the ball. He's not scared. I like his fighting spirit as well. You know what I mean? He's like, you know, he's up for the fight. I like that. And 20 million, that's a no-brainer for me.
Come on, man. Do you know what I mean? Everton paid nearly £40 million for Iwobi from us.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
I'm sorry, but for me, yeah, listen, if you was telling me a month or so ago, I'd have been like, nah. And I was like, what's he done? What has he done? Have you noticed he doesn't spend that much time on the ball now? Doing these silly little spin arounds and everything.
Spinning top as troops are scoring.
But he doesn't do it as much now. It's more
direct.
The directness and the productivity is there. It's like he might turn once, bang. You look at the goal that we scored against Leicester. You know, he had that ball from deep in midfield. I think before Arteta, he would have probably spun around on the ball a few times and then laid it off to the left somewhere. But he literally got it, bang, eye of a needle pass, straight through, split Leicester open, bang, 1-0. Big difference. And I feel that if Mikel Arteta can get to play his system he wants, and we put a real creative person in there as well with him, that could be one hell of a good partnership there as well.
Yeah. Now,
here we go.
this weekend, the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City. When the draw was made, I was like, I don't want City. Give us any of the other two. I know we can beat the other two. City, I don't want. We get City. But you know, I was looking at it, right? I was looking at against some of the Wolves. Wolves away, got battered there last year, went there, got a 2-0 win against all the odds. No one thought we'd win that game. Maybe a draw, maybe no one thought we'd win that game. Southampton always go there and get battered. Always go there and lose recently. Went there, got a win. Liverpool, everybody expected us to lose. Won that game. Tottenham played decent in times. It's the FA Cup semi-final. Can we get a win against Manchester City, who've been so dominant over us in, you know, previous occasions?
Maybe if Man City have about 4 players sent off in the opening 10 minutes, we've got a chance. but listen, at the end of
they lost the other day to Southampton. They've had a few funny results as well. But then they're better.
They've lost 9 games. They've lost 9 games in the Premier League. So they're not invincible.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? The thing is, right, is that we have to be switched on 110% for 96, 97 minutes. We cannot have a moment's lapse of concentration at all against Manchester City because they will bury you. They literally smell blood and annihilate you. And if we allow that, then it will be a massacre. But if we've actually put up a fight and we actually defend like we did against Liverpool, we got a chance. You know, with the attacking players we have, we do have a chance. And I said this to you in my video after the game against Liverpool, that I really want to see what Mikel Arteta can do tactically against Pep Guardiola without the issues that we faced a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it all went wrong in that game, didn't it? I mean,
everything that could have went. Granit Xhaka got injured in the first 3 minutes. Pablo Mari then gets injured in the first 15. David Luiz makes a mistake. David Luiz gives away a penalty, and we have to spend the last half an hour with 10 men. Everything.
Didn't Leno get injured in that game as well?
Now, Leno was Brighton.
Oh, he's Brighton. Yeah.
Come on, how can you not remember Mopai?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Mopai. I hope Brighton get relegated.
But yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be the Liverpool game is a good audition because there's similar styles of teams. You know, it's a game where you're not going to have a lot of the ball. City will own the ball. We're going to have to be disciplined in defence, but a bit like Liverpool, right? Their defence is not as good as Liverpool's. So when we get those chances and we can get a break on them quick, we got to take them. But you never know, man. If we could take, you know, they're going to have to be resolute in defence. It's going to have to be a brave performance as well.
Massively brave performance, man. Like, look, at the end of the day, look, even Mikel Arteta is not stupid. I looked at his, you know, post-match, you know, press conference, and he said that the gulf between Liverpool and Arsenal is massive. And we know it is. Despite us winning, it's massive. It's absolutely
they're the champions by a mile.
Yeah. And, you know, what I like is that he don't sugarcoat that. And he will know that we are miles behind Man City. He will know Man City better than anybody. Absolutely any manager in the Premier League, you know, he will know them better. He probably hasn't even had to do much tactically in terms of research because he will know. You know, it's about the players going out and implement his strategy and his ideas. And it's really fascinating. And I do want to just see how the game pans out without any, hindrance on our part. No injuries, no sendings off, no nothing. I want to see how the pupil goes up against the master. Because we've seen all the disrespect about how he picks up cones for Pep and everything else and all this rubbish. I would love for him to put a big performance in, and where you can go, what a tactical masterclass that was. That was brilliant. That was this, that, the other. And what will be, man. There's even Arsenal fans, won't mention no names, that, disrespect Mikel Arteta. If you can't see what the guy is trying to do and the way that we're doing things already, then you've got an agenda against him. You're simply voicing your opinion against him to try and get your face in the spotlight. I'll say it as it is. That's what certain people do. Oh, you know what? I need to say something that goes against the grain. Oh, it might make my channel a little bit more popular.
Who are you talking about here?
Mr. Don't get me fucking started, man. You know what I mean? You've had enough controversy for a week. Don't get me started. Do you know what I mean? I'm being a good boy. All right. But I tell you something, I don't like, I'm being serious, Robbie. Yeah. I don't like the fact that Mikel Arteta is not being given the chance.
Listen, that person you're talking about is not the only person that's called into question.
I'm calling it to everyone. I'm calling it to everyone that's calling him out, because
there are some things to question, right? Like some of his substitutions sometimes.
But it's part of what he's learning, Robbie. But Robbie, he's finding out about the team.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. He's finding out about the team, and the only way you're going to find this out is by, doing these things and seeing who can do what and what he wants and what he needs and everything else. And we will bring it back to Liverpool again. The first season that Jurgen Klopp was there, he took over the team when the season had started, had no pre-season behind him. He had to go with what he had. I remember they went to Stoke and were 5-0 down at half time. And people were all mocking. I've mocked Jurgen Klopp. We all have, because for the first 3 years, he never won anything. He wasn't doing anything. But nobody within Liverpool let that affect from where they thought they were going. They believed in him. Let's move. And I've seen enough from Mikel Arteta to say, you know what? Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. You will. The best managers do. Klopp does. Pep does. Wenger did. Ferguson did. They all do. Everyone's human. But it's about learning. And what he's trying to do is suss out what player he wants, what player he don't want, what position he needs to strengthen in, and which position he doesn't need to strengthen in. And the only way he's going to do that is by matches and learning. And there'll be some, you can sit there and say about the substitutions for certain games where he might have got it wrong. You can bring up a game where the substitutions were brilliant. Let's talk about Wolves when he brought Ainsley Maitland-Niles to go on that left-hand side to shut out Arma Traore. Let's talk about that. That was tactically brilliant. We all looked at him coming on in left wing back and going, what the hell's going on here? So why don't we pray he got that right? So they're little things that he's trying to learn as he's going along as to who can do what and when and why. So, it's easy to criticize when a substitution doesn't work. But let's praise. Look at that last night. Why do you think we got those 2 goals? Not just because of the mistakes, but because of the pressing. Who do you think made the players press?
True.
It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't the fans. It wasn't Father Christmas. Do you know what I mean? It was Mikel Arteta and what he's doing. Also, go and have a look at the body language of the players when the man speaks. Because you can tell a lot by people's body language and the way that they respond to somebody speaking. When Mikel Arteta speaks, everybody in that team listens. They respect him because they're buying into what he's trying to achieve at this club. And as fans, we need to buy into it as well. Because if we back him, all we need then is Stan to back him. Because I genuinely think we've got a manager that can take us back to challenging again. But it will take time. It will take more than 3 years, but be patient. And along those paths of the 3 years, you can have bumps, but don't let them bumps derail you. Don't let one defeat all of a sudden go, Arteta out. Because it don't. People can sit and watch this and laugh and go, oh, yeah, one defeat, you'll be waving banners, DT, or this, that, the other. Listen, let's get the reality and let's get it right. For over 15 years, I supported Arsene Wenger. I thought he was like a dad to me. He was a god. Yeah. Pulling out banners on Arsene Wenger was one of the hardest things I ever did because I felt like I cheated on my family member. He gave me some of the best times I've ever had, but I felt I had to do what I had to do for the benefit of Arsenal Football Club. All right. And I backed Unai Emery for how long? Even when results were going wrong, even after the final in Baku, when I thought, you know what, the way the season's ended, you know, something's not right. But I still backed him, still went into the new season trying to back him to a point where I was like, nah, I can't do it no more. I physically can't. I've tried all I can and it's not working. The results are dreadful. I will back Mikel Arteta 110%. And I know, and I'm not stupid to know, that he will make mistakes along the way. I know he will make mistakes. And when he makes those mistakes, you can criticize him. You can say, you know what, he got that wrong today. But at the same time, go and praise the man when he gets it right. Like Wolves, you know? And for the first half against Leicester, we got it so right. You know, there's so many examples. When that first half against Leicester, when was the last time you saw us play like that, Robbie?
Yeah, that was a good performance. And even bits of the Tottenham game, I thought we played well. We were the team on the front foot. And I agree with you that I like it tactically. I like what he's trying to do. And like you said, he's even sort of intimated it. He needs players. He needs better quality players. And that's not going to be overnight, is it? We know already with this board, that's not going to be overnight that he gets the... But if that guy can get the players, I can see... What I like about him is that he's brave in some of his tactics. But you sometimes need personnel. I mean, when you've gone 1-0 up away to Spurs with a great goal, and then, you know, your defenders then give away, you know, when there should be a period of just like settling things down, keeping it solid, right? And then like capitalizing on any mistakes Spurs might make to try and push to get a second goal. No, your defender goes and hands it on a plate, wrap to get Spurs back in the game. No manager in the world can do anything about that.
No, exactly.
Do anything about that. He needs better quality in, so that those mistakes are minimized and this game plan can be carried out week in, week out to how he wants it. And Mikel Arteta looks to me like an Arsenal manager. He looks to me, he's embraced it. Every time I'm looking at him now, I'm like, that's my manager. I look at you, I say, that's my manager. Yeah. Emery, after a while, I was like, this guy, I don't know, man. I'm watching games, I'm like, I don't know, what's our tactics? What are we trying to do? What will we defeat? I'd really forgotten what Arsenal was. What's our style?
Yeah. Do you know what?
I can see what our style is.
Do you know what it is? I will reference Unai Emery as being our Bruce Rioch. That, you know, Bruce Rioch took over such a successful period for Arsenal under George Graham. You know, Unai Emery took over, do you know what I mean, Arsene Wenger and all the success he had.
It was always going to be difficult.
And you looked at Bruce Rioch and you looked at Unai Emery and you went, just doesn't look like an Arsenal manager. Doesn't feel right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Something, and the fact that Bruce Rioch was trying to get rid of Ian Wright for John McGinley or whatever the fuck it was. Jesus Christ, that says it all. And it wasn't because of Bruce Rioch we got Dennis Bergkamp. He was manager, but believe me, that was not because of Bruce Rioch that he came. That was David Dean and everyone else that did that. But that's the resemblance that I can just kind of, you know, see that there was, and he was there for about a year. You know, Rioch was there for a year. There were just two managers that kind of went in between.
Yeah, and they didn't fit Arsenal. They didn't.
No, Mikel, I look at him on the touchline with his beautiful hair and his perfect hairline. Bro, his hair is immaculate. His hair is sensational.
Oh,
like
really
that
fair.
guy, listen to me, yeah? When it rained against Leicester and it was battering it down, his hair was still perfect. There was no product running down his face or no movement. It resembles Lego. The little hair that you put on Lego men. It's just absolutely immaculate. And then look at the way he dresses. Mate, this guy's got me wanting to go out and buy turtlenecks and all sorts, man. Listen, I'm coming along to watch-alongs wearing Armani and all sorts soon, mate. Mikel's got me like looking, thinking, hey, he just looks like an Arsenal manager to me. He just, there's something about Mikel Arteta. I love when he speaks, when he talks in his press conferences, even when we lose, I don't go, oh, I don't really want to hear what he's got to say today. I'm like, yeah, let me hear what he's got to say. Because he doesn't paper over anything. He says it. That interview after Liverpool, I sat there and went, yeah, my manager. Throw the ball back in their court now. Lay it on the line. As simple as that. He said it how it is. He's worried about the money. Over to you, Stan and Josh.
Now.
No more. That's what I like. My manager.
Yeah, my manager. Can he beat their manager? Which is Pep Guardiola. Can we beat City? Can we get to the FA Cup final?
Well, yeah, of course we can. Of course you can beat them, you know, for 20 minutes against Bournemouth. Bournemouth were all over Man City. And I know it won't be so much the same defence, but it shows that they can be got at. Southampton beat them a couple of weeks ago. And that game as well, Southampton had to ride their luck. You know Man City are going to get chances. You know they're going to have the ball. And you need them to have an off day. Sterling and whatnot hit the post and everything. And it's one of those. You need luck as well. They've lost 9 games. So I'm not looking at the game and going, oh, they're invincible. We can't beat them.
Prediction.
Penalties.
You're really trying to swerve everything today, isn't it? You've got.
No, I genuinely believe it'll go penalties.
And then the outcome?
We'll win. But I'm saying I genuinely think it will go to penalties. You know, when we played Man City in the last semi-final, which was under Pep as well, remember? It was 10 minutes away from penalties then. You know, before Alexis scored. So it's one of those, man. It can go either way. It could be a really tight game and it's in the balance, or we could get absolutely battered.
Like the last time we played at Wembley. Well, let's see what happens on DT. That was embarrassing, that one. That's why I'm a bit worried about that League Cup.
Hey, listen, if there's one...
And if you remember, they then came down to us we played them again, the very next game in the Premier League, and they came and beat us 3-0 again. They seem to beat us 3-0 every time.
I know you want about when it was like minus temperatures. They actually had to actually paint the white lines of the Emirates blue.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about those performances.
It's got to change sometime. Let's hope it can change on Saturday. I'm looking forward to the game. We'll be doing the watch along for it as well. But listen, thanks very much for watching and listening to the podcast today. Available on all formats. Don't forget. So make sure you can check it out. The link is in the description for that video, 888 Sport. Your most hated player, get on there and click and let them know who that is. Is it Ashley Cole? Let them know. And DT, thank you very much. And let's hope that, you know, what a way and how brilliant would it be after this season that we've had that Arsenal could get to the FA Cup final and possibly win silverware. It'd be mental. And it'd be great for Arteta if he could do it, especially getting one over Pep. That could be something that could really set him in good stead going forward into next season. Even as players, players might even look at that who thinking about, So
the thing is as well, just quickly, is that, you know, if it isn't going right in the game, then you can watch us singing nursery rhymes again.
He beat Klopp for the first time. Maybe he can beat Guardiola.